by the logic of these people, the original Candyman was woke, okay?
But Candyman might have been one of the very first movies that really integrated, that really was addressing and played directly to that fear of the other, specifically racially, specifically black men who are in pursuit of white women.
Well, the first contemporary one, because when you go back in history, the actual first one would have been, I think, Birth of a Nation.
No. I'm talking about the first one that can work for both sides of the equation.
Sides. You're right. Okay.
Because Birth of a Nation is pure. This is nature. They are animals.
I don't mean to be rude, and it's, just the white folks that come around here ain't too handshaking with us,
The movie obviously deals with race and came out during a tumultuous time. 1992 was the same year the LA riots happened in the wake of the Rodney King trial.
Yeah, but you know what bugs me about the whole thing? 2 people get brutally murdered and the cops do nothing. Whereas a white woman goes in there and gets attacked and they lock the place down.
Yeah, I know, but this was a bad guy.
So the presentation of Cabrini Green almost being as much of a monster as Candyman himself falls into that sort of political narrative of that era, where black children are super predators. Helen walks into the bathroom and gets assaulted.
Cabrini Green, a central part of this movie, was a public housing project in Chicago that, in real life, was indeed a site of violent gang activity for many a decade. According to Tony Todd, there were 5 different gang factions operating there while they shot the movie. Production had to pay them off in order to shoot the exterior scenes, and they even used some of them to portray the Cabrini Green residents suspicious of Helen and Bernadette when they arrived. These dudes here are actual gang members.
The original film was about this low-income housing project, and it was a commentary on how essentially black people were kind of stuck in this horrible low-income housing area, and there was lots of crime and criminals, and there was like a young woman trying to raise a baby, and it kind of showed the difficulty of that kind of stuff.
So you say you're doing a study? What you gonna say? That we bad? We steal? We gang bang? We all on drugs, right? We ain't all like them assholes downstairs,
Most people fall into one of these 2 camps. One, it is something intrinsic to the nature of these people.
Yeah.
The other is it is something about their history together in the United States.
But what it does reflect is how the residents of the housing project are perceived by society. As Helen discovers, not everyone in the project is a malicious, savage criminal. Most of them are simply desperate, struggling people, isolated away from society and deemed as a problem.
I just want to raise my child good.
He's a beautiful little boy.
And he's all I got.
Because a symbol of the hell that we create on Earth when we do not love each other, when we not consider each other fully human, for the one side. The other side is like, look at the way those animals live.
They address this in the way police respond. Someone says, oh, the police are going to come because she's white, and then they address the fact that there's uneven police response to calls.
I heard her screaming. I heard her right through the walls. I dialed 911. Nobody came. Nobody came. Everybody's scared.
Rose's backstory consolidates the themes of Candyman, being that he was the son of a slave who managed to break away and grow into prosperity during the 1800s Civil War. However, racism being what it is, Candyman was a prolific painter who fell in love with a white woman whose father had a lynch mob cut off his hand, replace it with a hook for some reason, smeared him in honey, and he was stung to death by bees.
Candyman was the son of a slave. His father had amassed a considerable fortune from designing a device for the mass producing of shoes after the Civil War. He had a prodigious talent as an artist and was much sought after when it came to the documenting of one's wealth and position in society in a portrait. It was commissioned by a wealthy landowner to capture his daughter's virginal beauty. Well, of course, they fell deeply in love, and she became pregnant. Father executed a terrible revenge. He paid a pack of brutal hooligans to do the deed. They chased Candyman through the town to Cabrini Green, where they proceeded to saw off his right hand with a rusty blade. No one came to his aid. But this was just the beginning of his ordeal. Nearby, there was an apiary. Dozens of hives, filled with hungry bees. They smashed the hives and stole the honeycomb and smeared it over his prone, naked body.
By the time you get to something like Candyman, you are almost directly touching issues like miscegenation, violence, poverty. You're doing that, and you're taking all of that into, be my victim. Why does he want her to be his victim? Because of what was done to him, or because of what he is essentially? No matter which way you look at this, the movie works.
And there's even themes. So, for example, the main character in Candyman is a white woman. And one of the themes or aspects of the film is the idea of her being like a kind of white savior character. Candyman, the film, is based on a book. Okay? And the book is called The Forbidden. Yeah, it's called The Forbidden. The original book was actually had themes and commentary around the British class system because it was originally set in Liverpool, right? Even the original film changed it from being about the British class system to be more of a commentary on race and social class in like the inner city United States.
And in this case, it was based on a short story by Clive Barker that was not all about race. So in transferring it to a U.S. setting, of course, that third rail of race seems like a really natural place to open
race
that
is to
conversation.
America as class is to England in many ways.
Right.
So even the original film, it was based on a book, and it changed it from the book to focus it more on the racial aspects. So like, whatever angle you look at this from, it doesn't matter, okay?
And there are also countless articles and essays on the same subject available online. I don't have the expertise or experience to talk about that kind of stuff, especially in a kill count, but I encourage you to do further research if you're interested. There's a lot to be learned from this movie.
The filmmakers were good enough. They had enough basic sense of the humanity of the characters that the movie works anyway. And it worked. It can support a conversation like the one we're having right now.
It could have been much more egregious.
Yes, it could have been bad.
The original film was 100%, definitely, absolutely, totally as woke as you can get, okay?
So now we got Candyman gets an update, and the horror is gentrification. Whoa, whoa, whoa! I can't wait to pay $15 to go to a cinema and watch this.
The dude goes in somewhere and it's like, oh my god, no! I'm haunted by gentrification, what's happening? Obviously, probably like the original, you're going to have the main story, which is about the Candyman, but the subtext is there for you to pick up and engage with if you really want to.
It features a diverse cast, oh thank God, including black leads and a gay couple. Wow, take my money. I mean, the thing is, I'm pretty progressive too.
The original Candyman was set in a low-income housing project, right? And the majority of the cast were all black.
And deals with the issues of class and gentrification in a real-life neighborhood of Chicago's Cabrini Green.
Once it was finished, the city soon realized that there was no barrier between here and the Gold Coast.
Unlike over there where you got the highway and the L train to keep the ghetto cut off.
Exactly, so they made some minor alterations. They covered the cinder block in plaster, and they sold the lot off as condos.
Now, if you look at the original Candyman, there were some kind of tropes about gentrification, hints of it.
A few moments later.
With the 92 original was loosely based around the idea of gentrification, if you stretched, sure. The whole, social justice underlyings in Get Out were about as obvious as a hammer to the face. Get Out was pretty on the nose, but it was kind of still a decent movie. I saw both of his movies in the theater opening weekend, both times. I saw Get Out, which I thought was a 10 out of 10, excellent film. You got a guy like Jordan Peele who said, I don't want to hire any white people kind of thing. And everybody in media applauded it and said it was so stunning and brave to be racist. Now, do I think that Jordan Peele is a racist? No, I don't. There's absolutely a way you can cover gentrification and this type of things that it doesn't feel ham-fisted and kind of crowbarred into the film.
Hang on a sec. How does he know it's ham-fisted? He hasn't even watched the film yet. He's literally read an article that's spoken about it.
As much a buzz around her had been focused on the Candyman's box office success. I think they're overselling the success of Candyman. It made $25 million. I mean, I'm not saying it's terrible, but it's not like it made $100 million in its opening weekend.
Now, a lot of you have said it's Polygon. What did you expect? Do you think we could do that? Do you think we can show Polygon that we're maybe a little bit bigger than their pathetic website?
If what you want is to annoy everybody and have us all laugh at you, well, then you could be Polygon. Don't expect anything in the future to change until you take your L and you move on. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.